Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks! What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another interesting knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the CJRB Scoria. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Very interesting AR RPM 9 flipper from CJRB. This is one of their newer models. Thank you so much to CJRB / Artisan Cutlery for sending this in for review. Thanks to my generous patrons who are supporting right now. There's a link down below for Patreon. And please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. I will link this knife if I can, the time that I'm recording it. It's very new. I've seen it on like Amazon and I think it's Smoky Mountain Knife Works, right? But by the time you guys are seeing this, it might be available at more retailers. So I'll try and provide a link down below. Let's go ahead and get a measurement. Overall length of the Scoria coming in at 8 inches overall. Blade length is coming in at 3.5. Cutting edge is coming in at just a hair over 3 inches. So a pretty straightforward full-size knife. Let's do some size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. This is kind of in between, but it's still more like full size, right? This is not what I call a small knife. So I'd say it's closer to the Rat 1 than the Rat 2. How about up against the Spyderco PM2 and the Spyderco Para 3? Once again, closer to the larger of the two. Definitely, yeah, maybe about the same cutting edge as the PM2. Last but not least, the Benchmade Griptilian, or in this case, the Ritter Hogue, and its little brother, little brother now, the Benchmade Bug Out. Yeah, it's closer to the size of the Ritter Hogue, right? Full-size knife, you guys get it. Let's go ahead and do carry profile up against the Spyderco Para 3. You can see here, this is actually a pretty thin knife. Pretty cool, really thin. In fact, we put it up against the Bug Out. Yeah, now I know I've got aftermarket titanium scales, but these mimic the stock scales pretty accurately, the titanium ones I've got on here, in terms of thickness. So this is a thin knife. I want you guys to keep that in mind. Length and height up against the PM2 and Para 3. You can see here it's definitely shorter than both. It's shorter than the PM2. It's a little tiny bit longer than the Para 3. Height, even including the flipper tab, still nowhere near as tall as either of them, so it shouldn't be that big of an issue. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness on this guy. We do not have anything that resembles a thick blade on this. Blade stock thickness on the Scoria coming in at, 104, 105 thousandths. Nice and thin. Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. Get out my tools as per usual. Tools, very inexpensive, very recommendable. You can find them down in the My Tools section of my description. I believe, as is the case with a lot of knives like this and CJRB knives in general, yeah, we have a T8 pivot. We've got T6 body screws, not that big of a deal. There's a hidden screw holding in the pocket clip that's also a T6. Captive pivots, right? So there's only one screw. Yeah, minimal hardware. T6 isn't my favorite, but it's not a deal breaker. Just be really careful and make sure that you've got quality tools to take your knives apart. Let's go ahead and take a look at the inside of this knife here. We do have steel, and it is milled out just a little bit, and it's steel on both sides. So this side's the liner, right? So it is backed up with steel, and it is milled out a little bit. We're looking at micarta and AR RPM 9 for the other materials on this. I'm going to guess this is, I don't know, 3.5 ounces. Yeah, there you go, 3.53 ounces. Pretty much right on the money, ounce and inch for blade length to overall weight. So there you go. This is, about an ounce less than I generally carry. So this isn't going to be a difficult knife to carry. It might be illegal in some places, but for most people, even people wearing pants that are lighter or thinner material, pretty much anything except for athletic shorts. If you're wearing athletic shorts, mini Bug Out. That's my recommendation, right? If you're like, what knife's best if you wear athletic shorts all the time? Not the Praetorian tie, probably a mini Bug Out, right? Something like this, you probably still want full pants, but even thinner, more fitted material. Yeah, it's pretty thin. It's going to be pretty easy to carry. All right, let's go ahead and move into the review. So this is a good looking knife. I'll just tell you, it's pretty generic. It's pretty straightforward. We're seeing a lot of the same type of, right? It's like, whatever company, it's like countersunk steel liner lock, some kind of steel that's, anywhere from slightly to reasonably more interesting than the other steel that we've been seeing, D2, the other steel that we've been seeing on these knives, right? And then it's contoured and it's thinner and the action, right? And it's pretty straightforward. I mean, this is not a whole lot different from everything else that we've been seeing out there. But that being said, it is a nice profile. Ergonomic lines are great. The pocket clip is excellent. There's no hot spot because of the shape of the clip, the contouring, right? No hot spot whatsoever. Easy to hold on to in this position, and you can choke up, right? A little bit of Hinderer vibes. I'm not saying it's a copy, right? It's just kind of like, you know, the lines is kind of similar, right? It's just much thinner. Disengagement of this liner lock. There's plenty of room to gain access to it because they cut this area out right here. It's not sticky, but like I'll point this out. Like I've handled a lot of CJRB knives, and like on mine, it's gone away, and on this one, I can even feeling it as I'm doing the review. It's like wanting to let up on that. Sometimes the lock face is just gritty when I get it, right? Not experiencing that so much with QSP and Civivi. Definitely competitors for CJRB. Given the price points, right? Not feeling that. It's really been consistently CJRB, in some case artisan cutlery knives. I'm wondering if maybe there's some type of quality improvement that needs to go on there. It's not really stick, right? It's just a little bit gritty. But the lockup is fine. The lockup on this guy is completely and totally solid, and it doesn't feel like it's gonna slip or anything like that. In fact, it's probably less likely because of that grittiness that I'm feeling. But yeah, it's just, I want to point that out. I've been feeling that with CJRBs. It's just there's a little bit of goofiness sometimes in that, some grittiness in the lockup, right? Anyways, my card on this looks great. I think these come in this color and black, maybe more. I also like the pivot collar. That's a nice touch. It doesn't need to be there and you don't gain any benefit, but it does look nice. There is a position on this knife where you can mount the clip for left-handed carry. So lefties will appreciate that, I'm sure. The contouring, I love that. You know, for how thin it is, it's really nice that it's contoured. I can't stand like pocket knives that are thin. Great, it's thin, but you made it real blocky, so those angles feel extra sharp on the edges because it's so thin. No, this is nicely knocked down here, and it's contoured and everything. There's a nice transition from this area down to the sides, the corners of the handle, so it feels good. Flipper tab, easy to use. You can light switch it. You can push button it, right? The action is pretty good. I'm not going to say it's anything mind-blowing. You're not going to get mind-blowing action in this, at this price point, but it's good, right? You can see there and just takes just one shake, right? And then the detent feels good as well. No detent lash or anything like that. No pivot lash, so that's nice to see. And it is locking up solid. We also have thumb studs that work perfectly. That flipper tab is going to kind of pinch your finger, so you kind of have to train yourself to get out of the way, but they do work. You can also easily do the reverse flick, right? I would call this probably a medium detent. It's fine for this knife. The blade is with some type of black-coated AR RPM 9, which is proprietary steel through CJRB and Artisan Cutlery. They created it. It is essentially, not exactly the same, but essentially powder-formed 9CR18 MOV, which is, by itself, the ingot form of it is an acceptable steel in the budget territory. So you're getting a little bit better performing 9CR18 MOV. Did I say that correctly? Hope so. 9CR18 MOV. Good stuff. It's one of the only, if not the only, powder-formed steel that makes it into budget territory. So, nice. Blade profile, got a little bit of a flat that carries out, what is this? 75% the length of the blade. Nice wedge up here. Nice and thin down at the cutting edge. I mean, not like, oh my gosh, laser beam, but it's definitely, I mean, like we're in like general EDC territory. This blade is fine. There's nothing crazy going on here, nothing spectacular, nothing special. It's just a good, straightforward blade, and that's obviously what they set out to do, right? So that'll work. CJRB on one side, and on the other side, we have serial, blah, 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 blah. AR RPM 9, and then China, because these knives are not made in the United States. Do with that information what you will. Most people have made up their mind one way or another on that subject. We have a lanyard hole right here. So if you want to put a lanyard back there, you can do that. A couple of nice looking standoffs there. We have a titanium pocket clip. Curiously, titanium. Pocket clip is great as far as aesthetics and going with the look of the knife. Carries really well. And it's even got a nice ramp there at the end. I'm actually coming to prefer clips like this over the drop and the rise because it keeps the entire thing low profile. Like in the past, I've been really in favor of stuff like this, right? And this is fine. This works really well. But clips like this, these are great because when you're squeezing the knife, you don't even feel it, right? I mean, it's wide enough and the edges are knocked down enough and it's contoured. It really, really makes sense with your hand. This is a nice clip. And I'm really coming around to the idea that clips like this might be superior to stuff that I thought was superior in the past. I love that they just do a continuous ramp right there. That's just getting this thing in and out of the pocket is a breeze. I do not want to have to use two hands to get my knife in and out of my pocket. That's why I hate the ones with the little, like, where instead of a ramp like this, they come up and then over. Ugh, no. Or when the thing is, it's just like a straight bill, right? Or those ball bearing I hate that stuff. No, this works. In and out, one hand, right? Like that's what I like to use. So that's great. And it carries pretty deep too. Right there, that's all the more that's going to be sticking up out of your pocket. That's really nice. Titanium, and it's just about a perfect clip design. Hidden screw as well, so you don't have to. No, I hate looking at screws. You don't have to look at it; it's not there. The lockup on this guy, we're coming in at. Can we see it there? Probably like 35 to 40%. No blade play up, down, left, or right. A little bit of grittiness on disengagement, and then the centering is dead on. No detent lash, anything like that. No lash in any direction. Nice looking knife. Straightforward build, thin profile, fairly lightweight, good balance, good ratios, right? Balance is right there where you're going to have your finger right behind the pivot. This is a good design. Pocket clip's good too. So the price on this guy, when I just checked a second ago, I found them on Amazon for about 60 bucks. I think that's right on the money. I don't have a problem with that. Remember, we are dealing with the budget knife world's only powder form steel, and it's a good one. It's not like, oh my gosh, amazing edge, because people are like, I judge the quality of steel based on the potential edge retention. So if it's not Rex 121, it's not a good steel. That's a flawed system, right? The quality of the steel is not like whether or not it has the best edge retention. No, it's balance, right? Toughness and corrosion resistance and wear resistance, right? You throw your Rockwell hardness and all that in there, right? The multi-directional teeter-totter. AR RPM 9 has good balance and it's stainless. It's easy to sharpen. It'll hold a decent edge and it's reasonably tough. That's good balance, right? I don't have a problem with that at all. I saw it on Smoky Mountain Knife Works for about 70 bucks, right? Am I really going to complain that much more, right? If we see this hit the other retailers, by the time you guys are watching this video, if it's available on Knife Center and Blade HQ and all those other ones, if they've got it for 70, am I going to cry about it? No, because AR RPM 9, this is a good design. Like, I wish the lock wasn't gritty, right? But I'm sure that'll work itself over time. The action itself is good. You got a titanium pocket clip. It's a really generic but really well-made budget knife. Anything under 75 bucks on this channel I consider to be a budget knife, right? So, should you pick it up for oh, what if it's 70 complex? Should I still buy it? Yeah, go ahead. It's 10 extra bucks from where I think it should be. This is fine. You can get the if you don't want to do that, you can get the CJRB Feldspar, which is a great design in AR RPM 9 for about 50 to 60, right? I'm going to give this one a bump because they use a titanium clip, and I like that. Titanium, better material for a pocket clip, much more forgiving if you get it caught on something, right? This is, there's more robustness that goes into this clip. The design is really good, right? Yeah, you gotta pay, let's say you got it, is it worth paying an extra 20 bucks for this design over the AR RPM 9 Feldspar? I would go for this. I like this more than the Feldspar, right? I think this would have been a Feldspar killer completely if they had just not done a flipper tab. But then it would basically be another Feldspar, right? So I kind of like that it's got the choice. Flipper tab's not really that much in the way. You can still comfortably choke up on it. Good design. I think maybe for my fingers if the Detroit was just a little bit bigger, but this is good. Straightforward, easy, yeah. If you're looking for a knife in this price range, this is a great one. This will go on my cheap knives I like playlist, and it's also going to go on my most recommended knives playlist. So nice one, CJRB. Guys, that's going to be pretty much it today. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.